Good morning, everybody. How is everyone? I hope that we're all coming in and getting comfy. As you know, this week we've been trying out a new thing, and that's me running the production as well as doing the teaching. So do send me a note or comment here about how that's going. If there's something that you would like to see me change, can you hear me clearly? Is there too much light? Are my animals too much of a distraction? I'm Belinda, and we are here with Just Be Yoga, a donation-based community outreach. And this is our home yoga practice live. Friday morning, we're ready to start to wrap up our week with the concept of basics and fundamentals, all the while with the overlay of some of the themes that we've been working on this week. And that was the philosophies that we started to explore in the beginning of the week, Sutras 1 through 3. Yoga begins and begins again. Yoga quiets the constant churning in our mind. Good luck with that. And then we, as observers of ourselves, get to observe things clearly with some clarity and some authenticity. Doesn't always mean that we like what we see, but we will see our patterns, our tendencies, our strengths, as well as maybe some fibs that we tell ourselves. Feel free to please chime in here. I'll be looking to see if there's any postures or any sort of requests or questions. Because this is live, and for those of you who are popping in live, I would really love to take full advantage of that live aspect. Otherwise, I'm just sitting here talking to a camera, and I could do that without doing it live. So please send me, anything that you're wanting, some feedback that you want to give, either about your practice or something that you would like to see more of out of me. Or at the very least say hello, so that I'm sure that I'm not just looking at a number there that says however many people are here, and I'm actually seeing actual human people. Human people, digitized people, whatever, our spirit to spirit. Okay, well, I'm going to start with a sitting space. And today I'm going to sit using the stool because I also want to try to always remain true to our mission of accessibility as well as affordability. And everything doesn't have to be cross-legged and sitting on the floor. You could be sitting in a chair. You could be sitting, hopefully not in your couch, because that might suck you in. But if I'm just sitting on an ottoman here. My feet are flat, spine is lifting, resting my arms. And we'll do our check-in to start in on feeling out where we are in our body and our breath and our mind. So as you're ready, getting yourselves comfortable, let's go ahead and eyes can be open or closed. Inviting ourselves into our practice, into our awareness of ourselves. And just feeling what is going on inside of the physical body. Noticing what is going on in the breath body. Inviting a deeper, slower inhale and a deeper, slower exhale. Notice your entire spine. Maybe reflect on how the breath and the body are working together. And then let's start off today with an Om. I've been ending sometimes with the Om. Just another reminder that yoga means to create a connection. We're not here to command our bodies and our minds, but we're here to connect with them, just to kind of fuse and coexist and observe. And a part of doing that is also within sound and a vibrational existence. The Om can represent that. Now, your Om could be a home, Home, or it could be amen, if that's something that resonates more purely with your spirit. Or it can just be the sound aum, aum. Wide open throat, relaxing diaphragm, eyes can be open or closed, and open yourselves maybe to the experience, that's all, of feeling vibration emanating from within out into the atmosphere. Deep breath in. And just feel that vibration just reverberating out, connecting in with other sound, bouncing back to us. Recognizing that we're also vibrational beings and that we pick up energy and we send it out as well. All right, so Fridays are about our basics, and all of this is giving you tips, hopefully, and tools toward developing your home personal yoga practice. So I'm going to talk about the fundamentals of postures. That's all. That's all basics is. It doesn't mean that some things may not be hard. It means that we're going to approach what is the root foundation of standing postures, root foundations of seated postures, root foundations of twisting, and always coming back to the basics. That can always loop us back into our very first sutra. Yoga is constantly beginning. How about that? All right, so let's start where we are. So if you're sitting cross-legged, go ahead and sit there. If you're sitting in a chair and have thought, hey, that's a pretty good idea, go ahead and get yourselves into your chair. I'm going to back up a little bit, hopefully so that you can see my feet. And so that the feet are flat, I'm sitting a little bit closer to the edge of my chair. Spine is lifting up. And so as we find the root foundation of sitting, you're going to feel like a mini mountain pose in sitting, all right? So the mountain is going to begin from the butt up. So feel your sit bones, your tailbone. We'll scoop the tailbone under just a little bit, engaging the core to hold this corridor upright, right? This torso being a corridor. And feeling upward energy lifting us and that rooting energy. And then let's just feel right now that we're not overexerting in any direction, but we are putting intention into holding ourselves upright. Lifting up through the back of the neck. We'll tilt the chin down and just keep the attention on the overall spinal column, rooting and lifting. And then tilt the chin up. Lift up through the front of the throat. Don't just dump back. I think sometimes when we're working the neck area, we just dump things backward. If we can bring some intention and awareness into the upward lift from the chest, the breastbone, through the throat, and then tuck it down and lift it up. And tuck it down and lift it up. Now, as we're going and you're paying attention to your spine, also, especially if we're seated, can you feel both feet rooting downward? Breathe with your movements. Start to bring some awareness into whether you're rushing, are you feeling, or are you doing? And I will leave that up to you for you to explore the answer to that in a non-judgmental way. We're here to observe and connect, not command or criticize. And then gently going side to side, pressing down through the feet and sitting bones, lifting up through the spine. What is the range of turning to the left? What is the range of turning to the right? And eventually letting it all transition into a neck rotation. Smooth inhaling and exhaling. I'm not going to say any specific type of breath to be doing, other than can our attention be on it being of ease? Breath in, breath out. How are the shoulders responding? Are we tightening the tummy and clenching the tummy, or can we breathe? Where are we in this physical body house, changing direction? Maybe change your pace right now just to be deliberate, to break up any patterning. Good. Now I'm going to invite us to let our head tilt over to the left. Try to be mindful and aware of whether you're lifting the left shoulder up to the ear, or can you let that left shoulder drop, inviting the left ear over to the left shoulder. Left hand up by the right ear. Again, let's carry some intention into the spine. And then let that weight of the arm rest here. Resist the urge to yank or tug. Softening into the sides of your neck, softening into your breath, becoming aware of what is going on in the side of the right side of the neck. Breath in, breath out. Now, of course, if I wasn't here, I want all of us to feel free to start to explore this at a pacing that works for you. That means you can hang out here as long as you wish. Maybe for enough time that you start to notice, oh, my mind went and did the laundry. Oh, my mind went and did a work task. And I say, oh, I'm going to guide myself back to being right here in this present moment, in my body, in my skin, in my breath. And then release the arm, gently rolling that chin down and over to the other side. Now, if you're sitting cross-legged, why don't you go ahead and mindfully change the cross if you haven't already? Yeah, I'm going to check that my shoulders are down. Got to let that right ear fall. Don't lift that shoulder up to the ear. And let that right hand come up toward that left ear. Breathing in, breathing out. Maybe deliberately dropping that left arm. Existing in my breath. Bringing my thoughts back here to the present moment. I'm hearing raindrops outside. It's a wonderful way to just bring myself at least into this moment in my room, in my home, hearing the raindrops just outside of the window. Allowing my sensory perception to give me an understanding of the present moment. Coming into that pratyahara. All right, that's one of the limbs of yoga. Remember, there are 8 branches of yoga, not just asana, not just yoga poses. I'm going to release the arm, gently roll the chin down, and lift my gaze. Just a few shoulder rotations, noticing, working out maybe some of the intensity of that stretching of the neck, isolating into some of those areas of the neck may invite more tension than release. So we can work that out, allowing that we can give ourselves some tenderness, changing the direction, exploring the range of movement in the shoulders, still checking in that we are connecting and not commanding in these bodies. We're here to invite the body wisdom, not for us to boss the body around. All right, I'm going to invite us to come to standing, and we'll work on some of the fundamentals of standing poses. I'll set my little stool aside. All right. So position your feet in a way that's comfortable for you. And that can be a part, all right? If bringing them together is comfortable, great. But sometimes our thighs feel like they're in the way of being able to bring the feet together. So you honor a space of ease and steadiness in your own being, all right? Ease and steadiness. Sthira sukha is a Sanskrit term. Let's notice where the weight is in our feet. Look at your feet, all right? And notice, are they angled outward, Are they pigeon-toed inward? What would be a neutral stance? And you position that, spread the toes, invite some awareness into the feet, aliveness into the feet. Maybe ask, can I activate the arches of my feet to lift and provide that support? And then I'm standing in my shins, my knees. I give a little soft bend, just kind of wake some things up. And then I'm standing upright, a few pelvic tilts. I'll turn sideways here so that we can feel a little bit of this pelvic tilting back and forth. And then see if I can find an even space for where my hips are. Lifting up tall through the rib cage, shoulders down and away from the ears. Growing tall through the top of the head. Try not to boss your yoga around by having that chin super up and lifted, all right? We're going to anchor that down, lifting up through the back of the neck. Feeling the front of my body, the front of my thighs, kneecaps, front of the belly, ribs, breast, growing tall. That whole front of the body growing tall. Back of my body, feeling the backs of the heels, backs of the calves, backs of the thighs, buttocks, shoulder blades, rooting down. Maybe use the breath to help us visualize this as we breathe in, rising up through the front of the body. As we breathe out, cascading down the back of the body into the earth. Breathing in, rising, lifting. Apply some effort, a little bit of light effort to lift, but with ease. And exhale, effort, rooting down, still with ease. Try not to lock your knees. Feel your body holding itself upright. Now we'll breathe in and lengthen the arms up, still asking the ribs and the belly to grow as tall. Shoulders are still anchoring down. Exhale as we hinge at the hips, coming forward. Now go ahead and bend those knees here. Those legs don't have to be straight. It's nice to ease our way into the range of movement in our bodies. We'll gently roll the spine up and just start to invite a little bit of a flow. Before you go anywhere, refamiliarize. Where am I on my feet, my knees, my hips, my core? What's lifting? What's rooting? Breath in. Mindful, deliberate existence and movement in our bodies. Exhale, letting the upper body cascade over the bottom body. Let the upper body trust enough to let go in between the ribs, in the neck, in the spinal column, rolling that spine up, lifting the head left, coming into an upright, intentional, erect space with purpose, but still with ease. Breath in and lift. You can visualize, what are you lifting toward physically, breath-wise, mentally, spiritually? Exhale, letting that go. Let this be a personal experience for yourselves. And then I'm going to roll the spine upright. All right, so everything that I've talked about as far as a root and fundamental of mountain, of standing, needs to be carried. It's going to be the root foundation of all standing poses. All right, so in any standing pose, being aware of from my waist up, what is rising and lifting, and from my waist down, what is rooting into the earth. All right, I'm going to work on a chair now, and let's see about bringing that mindful intention. You may have noticed I was sideways, but I'm going to bring myself frontally here. I brought my legs together because I like to zip the energy together by squeezing the inner thighs together. You don't have to have your legs together for a basic and root foundational chair. Those feet could still be a few inches apart with the knees bent. Just don't let the knees curl in to face one another. Try to keep them stacked over the heels. So if feet are apart, knees are apart. If feet are together, knees are together. Come back into your awareness of the soles of your feet. These feet that carry us on this journey. Maybe bring some intention and honoring into those feet. How spacious and strong and at ease do they feel? Knees squeezing, pull the knees back, pull the butt back, chest up. All right. So I'm going to try not to let my knees go past those toes that way. I'm going to pull them back. And that's really bringing more energy and working for my low core to hold me up. And I need my core. That core is that engine, right? I need that. So the strength of the bones to be my root in my house. Remember, where's the mountain in this pose? My upper body is lifting. My bottom body is trusting that it can sink down, even though they're working and they're saying, what? You want me to trust what? Now, everybody, come out and go to your mountain when you are ready. Face is soft. Hands can be at your hips. Hands can be at prayer. Maybe some of you have been with me all week, and we'll start to invite paying attention to the busyness in our mind now. Remember that second sutra. Noticing all of the busy chatter in our mind, because it starts to turn up when we're working ourselves. Breath. And I'm going to ease my way back into mountain and just let that release. Feel it slowly releasing. Don't want to do something about it. Be aware of your energy dissipating. Breath in as we lift. Growing tall. Feel your ribs growing tall. Try not to suck in the belly. Sucking in the belly. No. We're going to exist and love this whole frame as it is. Feel the breathing process. Breath in. Lift something anew. Exhale. Let's let that upper body hinge. Let your mind observe here. If I really let something go, there's something fighting. And we're still connecting, not criticizing. Santosha, I've talked about this over the last few weeks. Contentment. How do we wear that? W-E-A-R, like a cloak, like a shroud, like a piece of clothing. How do we wear acceptance? And let's slowly roll that spine upright and arrive back in the mountain. In your time, when you're ready, we'll bend the knees, pull the butt back, and lift that upper body upright for that chair again. Where's the weight in your feet? Is there ease in your feet as the bottom body is rooting? As your upper body, can you still feel it lifting? Can we put some energy? Do we aspire to it? How much intention have we put toward rising in our physical bodies, in our real lives? And when you're ready, we'll arrive at the mountain. Be honest with yourselves. Keep the eyes open, maybe close them. Do everything with intention to observe. And we'll come to this mountain. I'm ready for my mountain. Breath in, lifting when you're ready. Feel the legs rooting down. Oftentimes, when we do the extended mountain that is reaching, all of our energy is aspiring up. Don't uproot yourselves. Can you still put energy down? And how does that change how we feel in our bodies when we root it down? A little more solid for me, a little more directed. Breath in, exhale, hinge. Now I'm going to invite us to hang out here for a moment. Now remember, these knees can be soft. You are in your legs, your bones, your flesh. This is not about having some kind of rip and tear experience. So adjust a few things for your ease and steadiness. Maybe call it sustainability. I personally work on trying to find terms that don't get me into a competitive mindset or a comparative mindset. I've done competitive things in my life, in competitive sports, competitive profession, and I really find that it takes me out of a good space inside of myself. So when I'm on my mat, when I'm in this practice, I'm very deliberate about eliminating those terms. You choose what works for you. letting that even be a part of your practice. Ooh, do I even know the words that bring ease to me? I'm going to lift up into a half flat back. So now some of you are noticing I've got my hands out onto the floor. That may not work for you. You might be like, hey, floor, come to me. All right? So block, maybe a little stool or that ottoman. I'm going to bring my hands to that block then. I'm going to separate my feet a little bit. I'd had them together for that chair. Now, remember what I said about standings? That they give us, that we still need to feel all of the root and the elements of the mountain. All right, so now my torso is parallel with the earth. So I can't have that rising, but I can put a little bit of upward energy up through the tailbone and then root down through the legs. Now I'm going to pull the heart lengthwise forward though. Slide the shoulders back. Neck is neutral. Squeeze your thighs. Can we squeeze the thighs without locking the knees? Now pay attention if you're noticing here. Here's where a lot of us may be. I've really shifted back into those heels, a little bit exaggerating, but I'm just paying attention to the equal distribution of my body weight. So now I'm bringing that weight over the arches of my feet. I'm having my chest over the block or over the thumbs. If you've come to the studio, you guys hear me say it all the time, nipples over thumbs. But I'm just trying to do that to encourage the spine to lengthen forward, right? I'm going to check in here, not locking my knees. Squeezing the thighs in order to give myself some support in those legs. I'm going to place the left hand down onto the floor or the block. Now, I brought that block out there for folks who need it. If you feel as though you don't need it and you can have your palm flat, go ahead and do that. Really standing in this arm. Now, this is a new leg. So think about the elements of our legs in mountain and put that energy, stand in that arm, and we'll revolve. Now, I'm going to bring this arm to my hip and see about what's moving. Can I move from the center of me? Breath in, breath out. And I'm going to switch that out, bringing the other arm down. All right, remember now, I'm using the floor, but if you need that block, be truthful and honest with yourself about where you are. And start to twist from the belly button. If one knee needs to bend them both. Breath in. Let's create ease in these joints. Breath out. Good. And then I'll release. All right. I'm going to roll my spine back up to standing. I'm going to step up toward the front of my mat. I'm going to start to step the left leg back. Now I took 2 steps here. I'm also now going to take this front foot, take it out maybe a little wide on the mat. All right, I'm going to show you this way. Oftentimes, when people start to step back, can you see that foot, both feet are on a tightrope on the same line? And that creates a lot of instability. It also can put a lot of strain on the side ligaments of the knees. So if we take the feet out a little wider, you create a wider base. So that's what I meant there. So we've got our knee now over our heel, hips aiming forward, but let's not be too overly religious about that because we have to let all of these ligaments and tendons say hello to the positioning that we're putting the body in. And if they have rarely ever said hello, they probably need a little bit of time and practice. So we're here to connect so we can bend and straighten and observe. And for me, I'm feeling it around this girdle here. I'm feeling it in my low back and in the front of this hip flexor. Some of you might be feeling some pressure in the backs of the knees. Maybe you're feeling this front thigh, feeling a lot of work, all right? I'm not going to say what's wrong or right. It is, as long as nothing is telling you danger. And if you're hearing danger, come out. Let's change something. You could have gone back super far and realized, oh, you know what? Let me bring this foot up. Now, where's the mountain? Rooting through the bottom body. pressing down, and then lifting the upper body. All right? So I'm going to go back now into my little longer warrior one. That's where we are in the stance of my legs. And I'm going to show, okay, here's my upper body. I'm just kind of here. I'm just kind of enduring, grinning, bearing it. And I'm going to put energy into those legs. And you saw how it really lifted my body. Now I'm going to take my upper body and put some intention into that upward lift. Here's me kind of sagging and just kind of, you could say, hey, that looks good. Well, I'm just doing it. I know I'm not doing it. I'm going to push my legs down and I'm going to stand in this upper body and maybe I'll lift up, but those arms, superfluous. All right? The arms aren't lifting you. The torso is what's lifting us. Breath. All right, now maybe you take a few steps to bring this back leg up. Maybe you want to task yourself with seeing if you can bring the leg up. Whatever's going on in your knees and your hips is going to really dictate where you want to be with playing with that. All right? Ease, steadiness. I guess let's add safety. All right, we'll step the other leg back. What's rooting, what's lifting? Root foundation of standing poses. Shoulders at ease. I don't need any of that. There's enough going on down here. Maybe flow a little, trying not to lock the joints so that we're in an even, balanced existence, a kind existence in our bodies. We're here to connect, not command. Connect, not criticize. Hips are forward, but again, I said I don't like to be too religious about that. I want to feel out and navigate, negotiate, good negotiation going on in my hips. And then I'm going to apply that energy. Lift my upper body, sink in the bottom body, breathing that in and out. Awesome. And now I'm going to get ready to bring myself up. If you want to stay here, stay here. Know where you are. If you're like, I'm still figuring something out. You can catch up with us. This is to develop your home personal practice. I'm going to step my back leg up, feeling how I got there. Breath in, lifting, rooting down, lifting the upper body, exhaling. Forward folding. I'm feeling my low back here. It's definitely saying a few things. I'm going to tie it all together now. We'll do just a little bit. Bending the knees, pulling the butt back, lifting the chest and taking my time, finding my breath, shoulders down. The quality of your home yoga practice is not about how many reps. It's about looking at that mind, how we're connecting mind and breath. Maybe you start elongating the amount of time you're in some postures. Maybe you're increasing how often you flow through a pose. And then I'll come to standing. Good. Breath in, growing tall. And I'm going to come forward once again. We'll get that block. Maybe your hands come to the floor. Look at where your feet are positioning. Standing in yourselves, feeling your body, holding you and working for you and with you. Right hand is down. I'm going to twist, feeling the lengthening of the spine, long and forward. Where am I in those legs? As you notice here, I am revolving the full arm open this time. First time I just had my hand at the hip. But as I'm doing so, I'm really trying to soften the shoulder joints and not have tension restricting that movement. Also looking at my mind and making sure my mind isn't creating the tension in the movement with a demand or a command. Breath in, breath out, ring it out. New perspective, making room for some new juice, new energy. And I'll switch it out, rooting, standing in that arm, new leg. Press those legs down, feel your mountain, feel the root, the base of your mountain, giving you a good foundation from which to twist. And then I'll bring that hand down. Breath in, lift the chest. Exhale, let the upper body hang. Choose whether you want those knees bending. And we'll roll the spine up, lifting your head last. Honoring that neck and the neck work we did at the beginning of practice. I'm going to step my left leg back. Now, as you start to develop this practice, you're feeling stable. Maybe involve yourselves with lifting the knee first. All right, so I'm in mountain. I'm practicing it, rooting, lifting, rooting down the back, growing tall in the front, at ease, letting the jaw and everything go. And then I can lift. So now I've got to still be in the mountain now, but super duper mountain in one leg. And I'm still lifting in the upper body. It's a great way to start to just feel out. On one-legged mountain, it could come up a half an inch or an inch. Maybe you involve a little bit more core, but that's going to depend on the rootedness of that standing leg. And then start to make your way back, back, back. Finding your warrior one on this side, flowing. Seeing this hip joint wanting to move or not move. Sinking in it, feeling the bottom rooting, upper body lifting, feel the mountain in the pose. Maybe keep the arms lifted. Maybe if you're adding on, you don't have to. You can just step up to your mountain. Perhaps, oops, I got caught. You step up and then bring that knee down. Good. Remember, I'm bringing us through fundamentals. Doesn't mean everything is easy. Let's have a little transition. Breath in. Okay, don't lose your legs. Don't lose your chest. Don't lose the direction of your energies. Let's do a gentle side bend. We haven't moved in this direction today. I usually try to make sure I have some balance in the range of movements in my entire body. Sometimes I just bring the perspective of, can I let my spirit occupy new areas of my body? And then breath in, lifting, exhale it over. I used to think that was an odd notion, a confusing notion. And now I just say, well, my spirit lives in this body. I guess I should know all the rooms in the body. And does my spirit feel comfortable in that area of this house? And bringing ourselves up. Definitely needed my spirit to come in there and check it out. Got some house cleaning to do in those hips. Hands to the heart. Investing in my root. Asking this other leg to lift. Remember, this was optional. So you can have already started to step that foot back to get ready for your warrior one. Or you're working on feeling the remainder of the mountain. The mountain exists in a one-legged mountain. Breath, what changes as you ask the one leg to be the pure base of the mountain over a few breaths? Whoa, what do we notice? What's changing? What are we observing and connecting with in a different way? Maybe we're not connecting. Maybe we want to run away from it. When we're ready, we'll step that leg back. Okay, I'm going to turn now sideways again. Back foot is flat, maybe widening your base. Never be in a rush. Establish your foundation. It might take a few adjustments. Right? I love the metaphors for our real life. You know, how often are we rushing ourselves, or we let someone else rush us when we're like, hey, wait a minute, I just need to, okay, now I'm ready. You know, and what did that take? It just took some mindful attention, asking for a pause, taking a little bit of extra time. Breath in, and it isn't extra time, it's the time that we have. The time that we have that we're existing. Good, and we'll bring our hands to the heart. I am. And I'm going to step this back leg up. Wow. Oops, I didn't come all the way up. But, you know, it's my own practice. I can be forgiving if I'm not really super duper balanced about, did I hit this? Did I hit that? All right, I want to wake up my feet, rocking back and forth, feeling the calves, waking it up. What's still rooting? Because now I've changed the amount of surface that is my base by just coming onto the toes. And then bring the soles of the feet down. If you think about it, this is a miracle that we are standing upright, right? Homo sapien. Because only surface is a really small amount of surface that is holding all the rest of our body weight up against gravity. All right, let's breathe in. and come forward. I'm going to start to come into inversions now. So I'll bring my hands down to the floor, and I'm going to start to just walk my legs back. So we did an inversion before when we were just bent forward over those legs. And that's called Uttanasana, for those of you who are checking into some Sanskrit. This is downward facing dog. So I've walked the legs back. Please don't feel like your knees have to be straight, okay? Your legs could be bent. Great way to soften into it. Maybe do a few pelvic tilts if you can bring some awareness into your pelvis here. And it's quite okay and common for us to go, what? What's supposed to be moving? It may take a while for you to awaken different regions of your body. But this is an inversion with our head hanging beneath our heart. That is all. You don't have to be in a handstand only to be in an inversion. Is that a type of inversion? Yes, indeedy. Is it the only one? No, indeedy. Breath in. Can you let your head go? Breath out. Come down to your knees whenever you're ready. Breath in. Ease and steadiness. So much changing of perspective. And then let's gradually bring the knees down. And I'm going to invite us to just come to our butts. And we'll lengthen the legs out in front of us. I'm going to talk about the root of sitting poses. Now, in some ways, it's kind of very similar to mountain, right? It's a half mountain. And I wonder if some of you will recognize that the body is in the same shape as it was when we had our hands on the block, all right? So the energy is just a little bit different, but the concepts are still the same. So I've got my legs a little bit apart. You could start with them a little apart, again, forgiving the hamstrings and the muscles in the back. Or if you know, I'm pretty open, my muscles are more fluid and awake, cool, you can bring those inner thighs together. All right, but that's just a practicing of negotiating with the body of where does it want to be, not where our mind wants it to be. All right, so the bottoms of the legs are pressing down, pointing and flexing, feeling the joints in the ankles and the toes, chest is lifting. And now I'm going to settle in and put some energy in those feet, flexing the toes to my face as though I'm standing on the floor with those feet. Pressing the backs of the legs down. Now that is my root. So much more surface. Wow. Pushing me down. That's my base. So mini mountain now, because the upper body, it's doing its thing, going upright, going up to the heavens. This is the root of our seated. Squeeze the muscles in the thighs. A little bit of engagement in the tummy, not sucking it in. Chin is level. We're not bossing anything around. So your upper body is the same as it would be in mountain, but you may be feeling more work now going on in the thighs and the core. Breath. I like to say this is the root foundation of sitting. So the next time you're Netflix binging, sit like this. It'll probably decrease the amount of binging you want to do. Dandasana, staff pose. Let's breath in, we'll lift. Good. And then let's just do a twist. Breath in, pull the spine up. Exhale, revolve. You've got to use the arms for a little bit of leverage. Twisting from the waist. Relax the belly to allow the movement. If we contract muscles, we're tightening around them, not asking for movement. Tightening muscles create stability and sturdiness. Relax the muscles and we get into that fluidity, that malleability of our flesh. And then we release, let's lift, push the backs of the legs into the floor. Shoulders are rooting down. When we root the shoulders down, we ask the core to lift us up, not our shoulders to lift us up. Letting go of those shoulder handles, kind of like luggage handles that are lifting us up. Nope, we're going to lift from the center of us. See what the very middle of us has to offer. And we'll twist on the other side. Breath in. Breath out. Breath in. Grow tall. What's growing tall? You feel that out. Breath out. Wonderful. And we'll come on back. Now, I like to say for the basics of starting to come into this forward fold, just as we did standing, to maybe invite bending those knees. It'll be far more forgiving and less harsh on the hamstrings and the back. So I'm just going to give a soft give and fold my upper body over. And now, in order to fold, in order to surrender, we have to let some muscles go. We have to let attention go. There's a certain amount of effort we have to give into ease. So non-effort in your core. Non-effort in your back muscles. Let the upper body sag. Let your tummy breathe. And let your mind observe what's going on in our abdomen, in the folds of our flesh in our tummy. What's going on in between those shoulder blades. And I'll bring my spine back upright. So the folding forward, that's called Paschimottanasana, or east-west stretch, or the same version of what we did standing, but we feel it differently. You might have felt it a little bit more in the back, maybe more intensely in the backs of the legs. I feel it more intently in my back when I'm coming forward. All righty. I'm going to bring the sole of my right foot up against my left inner thigh. Now, some may need to provide some pillows or a block or something underneath of this hip, because maybe that hip is like, no, I don't want to go that way. Maybe that knee is like, no, I don't want to go that far, okay? Because we've got ligaments on both sides of the knee as well as in the front of the knee. So let's honor that. Also, that foot might want to be closer to the calf than coming up to that inner thigh. So feel that out, because we are doing a hip opener here. A lot of times, if we feel maybe are taking for granted what's going on in our bodies, we don't recognize, oh, hey, that's valid. This is a hip opener. All right, I'm going to come forward. Now, we could have a pillow here also. This is Janu Sirsasana. Soften the flesh around your bones. Never feel as though when you come into a pose that you have to hold it in a static manner. So if something is creating dis-ease, change it. We're striving to find that balanced space of ease and steadiness, that sattva. We talked about that yesterday. Breath in, breath out. And check in. Maybe you think you've let go. Check your jaw. Check your fingers and your wrists for a few breaths. And we'll gradually bring ourselves upright. Take your time as you switch, keeping that mindful awareness of how we're treating our bodies. Okay, don't slam yourself through things. That wouldn't be a yogic way. That would be not adhering to ahimsa, non-harming, non-violence. All right, so whatever you need on this side. Now, we could bring some energy into this leg, squeezing it just as we did in that Dandasana space. Or you could let it go. Sometimes when I'm in these poses for my own personal practice, I'll be in it and squeeze and feel contraction energy. And then I just let everything go loose, go flaccid, and breathe in that. Maybe I'll exchange, and maybe I'll just hold one of them. So feel out where you want to be, or you want to explore, right? If we don't know where we want to be, then that requires us to practice or play. I love that word a lot. I'm here to play yoga, because practice sometimes denotes so much more seriousness. I'm applying myself. I'm doing a thing. Instead, I'm going to play with this. I'm going to tinker with my yoga. I'm going to tinker around and play with, oh, what does my body want today in this moment? Sometimes one of the hardest things to do, you can stay in that or not. I'm going to come up to talk for a minute. One of the hardest things to do is let go of the memory of a practice of yesterday or a week ago or a year ago, because we hold ourselves up against that memory. We hold ourselves up against that experience. And then that means that we're not opening ourselves to this experience, to being here now. We're not accepting and loving this body. All right, so I'm going to bring my legs out. We're starting to run out of time. I'm going to work on a little bit of a reclining space, but also a back bending space. So let's have our block nearby. And I'm going to walk my legs out in front of me. Now you'll want to have a pillow and or a block nearby. Now I'm going to bring the block behind me more toward my upper back than my lower back. I'm going to do this sideways first, and then I'll do it with my back to you, so that hopefully we can guide a way of doing this. So I've got this. We're going to go into, supported fish. So I'm going to bring my back down onto the block, and then my head is touching the floor. Now this block is ending up a little too low in my back. I don't want any pressure in my low back. I want to feel a support of a heart lift or an upper back bend, letting my head go. Now you could put a pillow under your head, or you could be using a pillow instead of the block. I'm going to turn this away so that you can see. I'm going to bring my back down. All right, I found the sweet spot here, so I'm not going anywhere. All right, now it's perfectly legit to come into this and that the chest is starting to say, oh my God, nope. So ask yourself to come up, maybe use something softer, a rolled up blanket as a cylinder going along the spinal column, or the pillow. And it's also perfectly okay to go, this is not the pose for me, and just lay down on your back. We're going to be lying down on our back in a moment. You could stand up and lift the chest and do a standing arch of the upper back. But this is fish, allowing for the chest space and the thoracic spine to find some bending. And it is the least movable portion of the spine because it has a cage in the middle of it as a way of protecting our vital organs. But I love to kind of visualize that my most guarded space also needs to find a way of finding its most open space. So if you can, let the arms rest, maybe put some pillows under the arms. We'll feel this as a heart opener, but it's also an upper back bending. And the support is that we can just let our body weight sink into the block and accept that support. Fullest breath. And this is a reason why I like having different sizes of blocks, because my biggest blocks don't always feel good. Sometimes I need to start on this with a small block or a small pillow. And I'll do that for a few breaths, and then I'll roll off of it and come into a little bit of a bigger block. And find a few breaths, and I feel out. Do I need to come any higher? Has stuff started to open and accept going a little more open, or is that enough today? Maybe allowing for a meditative space about, what am I opening my heart to? What am I opening myself to breathe in and out? How spacious is my heart for myself, physically, in my physical body, my spiritual body, taking up residence in this part of the body. And I'm just going to roll over. I'm not going to lift the body up. I'm going to roll over to come off of that block. And now I'm going to move that block out of the way and just roll onto my back, lying down on my mat. Finding ourselves in our reclining. Now, countering is another element of root foundation of your practice, right? So if we bend, we should fold, right? So if we bend back, we should fold. So we've just done the equivalent of bending back. So I'm going to do the equivalent of folding while lying down. So I'm going to bring my knees in. Now notice I just did with one leg first. So I brought one leg in first. I could be aware of feeling my core muscles contracting to pull that in. But it didn't put much strain on my back. So if you're experiencing low back pain, it's probably wise to just start easy, bring in one knee, and then ask the other, rather than trying to pull them both in at the same time. Okay, so now we are reclining and looking up, and our gaze is looking up with ease. Huge surface of body area on the floor giving us support. Arms are giving support to the legs so that the core doesn't even have to do much work. And now we're doing this folding into ourselves as a nice counter from where we were. Maybe you're noticing I'm rocking. Oh, it just eases out some of the stress, any of the muscles we're experiencing, either through the whole practice or that last posture. I'm going to bring my hands behind my thighs and knees and start to straighten the legs a little. And I'm just going to bring my hands up and just pull a little, just a little. Relax your low back. Let your low back start to curl up and off the mat a little. And then lower it back. Send the heels up. Soften the knees, hands here. Start to straighten a little. Use the arms, pull ever so gently. Some of you may not want to be gentle. You could lift your whole low back and lower it down. Just a little countering, straightening the legs. Good. Pull. Feel a little stretch in the low back. And release. Good. I'm going to bring the bottoms of the feet down. One more stretching of the front of the body. We've done a lot of stretching of the back of the body, the hamstrings and the back. Here we get to stretch out the front of the thighs, front of the hips with a bridge. I'm going to push down through the feet, lifting the hips so the feet are just a few inches apart, knees a few inches apart. Lift your chin away from the chest a little. Feel the muscles in your thighs, your buttocks, your core lifting you up. Try not to let the knees splay. Do that check-in again, physical body, breath body. Are they working together? Now, tell your butt muscles to stop squeezing. What changed sensation-wise? Did they even cooperate? And let's lower that down. Good. Now lift again, press and lift. And let's gently lower that down. One more. Press and lift. Thrust. Feel your feet. Remember the relationship we created when we were standing in that mountain. Bring that attention into it now. Stand firm. The whole surface of both feet. Are you in one leg more than the other? Is there tension that crept up into the shoulders and neck? Do we need it there? Where's your ease and your steadiness? And we'll lower that spine down. Good. Feet together, knees together. I'm going to gently drop both knees on over to the right. Gentle spinal twist. Where's your breath? Don't want it so badly. It's not about effort. We're here to connect, not command. And then we'll bring ourselves up, keeping those feet down on the floor, and then just roll it on over. Lengthening through the sides, through the waist. And then I'll roll on over and come on up to a seated space. Now we could be sitting on our stool again. We could be sitting cross-legged. I am going to choose to be in a cross-legged space. All right. We're not going to have time for a shavas. And shavas, I'm not saying that I don't do it. I'm saying that because of the confines of time and this construct of doing things over the internet and all of that, is that I squeeze in probably a bit more than I had intended. And so I encourage you all, stay with this, lie down, or do a seated space of a meditative space. Okay, for your shavasana, kind of letting that all marinate in the stillness. Many yogic sacred texts and philosophies guide us that we work inside of the body and find its space of ease in preparation for our concentration practices and meditation practices. We prepare the body to receive the energy and the effort of focus and meditation. Shavas is a way of embodying that mindful, wakeful space inside of stillness in as non-distracted a way as you can. And you can do that sitting. I know a lot of people say, I love Shavasana, I just pass right out. That's called sleeping. And I love sleeping. Sleeping is valid. But the upright space is a great way to start to say, where's my mind? Where did I go? And then the body starts to say when it is not in ease. Feel your body, feel your breath. Notice your mind. What did you practice today? What did you connect with? What is this journey helping open up for you in your life, in how you treat your body, in how you treat others? It's a yogic practice to guide us in our whole lives, in a way of being. Hence to the Heart Center. I'm Belinda with Just Be Yoga, and I'm really honored to be able to share home yoga practice with you. All the light and love in me is a very same reflection of the light and love that's in you, and that's English for Namaste. Thanks for joining. Hit us on the replay. If you wish to give us a donation, we gratefully accept it. Going to our website, justbeyoga.com, or you can go to paypal.me/justbeyoga. Thanks, everyone. Maybe we'll see you this weekend. Basics at 10 o'clock on Saturday, Power 11:30 on Saturday, and our Chakra Yoga Flow always on Sundays at 10:30. It's an hour-long, wonderful way of connecting in with all of our energies. So great to see you all. Have a wonderful day.